And we're live on YouTube. Okay, so will you post on Instagram that now we're on YouTube?
How do they find you?
Hey everyone, we're coming from Instagram. I don't know if you heard of that app, it's pretty popular. We are, what are we doing? We're on YouTube right now.
Yep,
And we are currently
it's another
with,
internet address.
say that again?
It's another internet address.
I don't know what that means. However, I do know that we are on YouTube and we are looking to bring our Robot Fight and Fitness students over to YouTube so they can watch us live stream. If they search for my full name, which is Timothy Lee Peterson, and my social security number is, just kidding, Jesus, no way. If you search for my name and if you add Jiu-Jitsu or BJJ, which stands for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, after my name, you'll definitely find the channel. You might even see a red marker that says live, something like that.
BJJ after it?
Yeah, that'll help. So here we are, we're live. Just give us a second here. We are looking to post on Instagram so that our other students can know where we are and can come find us. And then we will continue with where we left off. In case you forgot, I didn't forget where we are. We were looking at the drop knee position and how to pass guard using knee on belly as our primary focus. Okay, so I'm going to hand this over to right here. And now it looks like my arms are much longer than they actually are. Wow, look at that saturation. That's not saturation. That's gamma. That's contrast.
Oh, well. I don't know how to change that.
Were you able to?
Oh.
Like a classic, like a black and white. Blah. Is that the word? Blah?
Film noir?
I can't see what that button is. Oh.
Hey, will you stop doing that to my gi? Okay? I don't appreciate that. I'm gonna back up slowly now so you can adjust. No, you're not seeing the point here. So, please just bear with us, one viewer. Just bear with us for a moment. We are just trying to migrate over from Instagram. We had a nice live feed going.
Uploading.
Our story was not going up. I'm sure all of you are over on Instagram making good use of their services and giving them all of your personal information so they can advertise to you, as you should. Okay? I'm not going to advertise to you. But if you haven't, go ahead and like and share and subscribe, and then leave a very positive comment. I don't take criticism well, so just praise would be nice. Some thumbs up, thumbs down every once in a while is good. Make sure your thumb can do both.
I wish they did neutral.
The neutral thumb, the thumb to the eye. I'm not gonna mess around this whole time. I promise you, one viewer, even if that's just me.
I think it is. Nobody knows you've switched over to YouTube.
They're not gonna know unless they're on YouTube. If they're on YouTube, if they're logged into YouTube, they probably get an alert.
Oh, it definitely wasn't just us because now we have 0.
Oh, they're like, oh, they're not even teaching. Well. Oh, now it's on stories.
Okay, hey, look, if you're the same person that just left, just hang out a second, okay, bud? You can write something in the chat that I won't be able to see. Look, I'll get really close here. You can write something in the chat. I'm not gonna be able to see. I'm not even gonna check, but you can write something there. Okay, I'll be here. Sean will be there or wherever he's going right now. Maybe we'll go back to Instagram.
Maybe not.
Yes, probably not though. It's not really looking like we will. But I promise you, I will resume teaching. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow. But soon, dear viewer.
Maybe you can just teach that one viewer.
That sounds fair. I'm gonna teach this one viewer jiu-jitsu. Let's do this. We're trying to post on Instagrams about, wow, I'm so bright. We're trying to post on Instagram so people can find us. Man, I just disappear into a sunspot here. I am just a white ball of light here.
2 viewers.
I'm not gonna mess around this whole time, I promise you, but look at me, I'm a white ball of light here, like a nucleus on the sun. If you happen to be a ghostly or wraith-like apparition, as I am right now, you can use that to phase through somebody's guard. They're never gonna give you problems. Miss M? You phase through my hand, watch, phase through my hand. No, phase through it. No, phase through it, like you're, he doesn't. Whatever.
You phased through his hand.
Look, I'll phase through Sean's whole body. Huh?
Oh.
There you go. Was it, I'm gonna ask my crew of people here. We have a huge film crew here helping us out. No, we don't. Was it able to go as a notification on our other pieces?
Yeah, Alex J. Tastic has seen the story.
Okay, cool. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so let's go back into, and since we're on YouTube and we have not been together for a little bit now, I'm going to review some of the key ideas that we've been covering up to this point, and then after that, we'll go back into where we left off on Instagram, which is another app you can download for your phone. And can I have you just back up the tripod just a little bit? I think we might be out of frame. All right, very nice, very nice. Okay. So what we've been looking at is, let me see if I can not get washed out as much. Can you turn this way? This is, I apologize everybody, this is not standard fare for, this is not par for the course here. We usually are not as nearly as saturated, and it's just not looking so hot right now. I guess if we turn on.
Oh. Do you want to go against a light background?
No, I think
because
here.
I'm too tan. It's usually my issue.
Here, let's try it something like, this is awful.
Should I turn off one of the lights? Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Better?
A little bit better.
What? Yeah.
That's better.
Wait,
Yeah.
let me try this thing. I want this.
I think it was better the other way.
Ooh, yeah.
That's-
Yes, excellent.
And we're live! Are we live?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we tilt the
We can.
thingy a little bit?
Which way?
This way, just a little bit, so it's not so, this way? Or no, that way?
Which way?
Does that happen? Okay, and do you see what I'm talking about?
It's a little cockpit to the left.
You could make the legs shorter on the tripod over that
Here?
side. I promise you, I know I've been saying this for the last few minutes, I promise you this is not what we normally do.
How's that?
This is a movement, a migration from Instagram to YouTube. This is the people are all over Instagram, I think, right now. I'm making that up, but we cannot go live on Instagram, so we're looking to do it on YouTube. But don't fret, dear viewer. We are going to get through the material that we had for today. Okay, this is more than good enough now. Okay, so what we've been working on is the idea that when we're passing someone's guard from outside position, we want to make sure that they're not grabbing on to our ankles. So if I'm standing up over my partner here, and I'm going to take an extra low crouch stance so I can be in the frame, and I go to pass my partner's guard, I'm going to start center line to center line with him. I want to take a step onto his center line, and then from here I'm going to sidestep, circle step, and shoulder step in order to get into a good knee on belly position. Okay, so I've stepped onto the center line, I guide his legs out to the side here, and I sidestep. As I sidestep, I circle step, and I take a shoulder step so that I land up here by his shoulders. Okay, now a whole bunch of things could happen. I could potentially land right into a great guard passing position, and then from here I score my points, and we move forward. Okay, but people don't like to get their guard passed, people don't like to lose matches, so he goes to the turtle position, and we saw that from this position, what's just happened is the connection started to develop favorably for me, unlike our internet connection, and then Sean had to move in order to recover from that connection I was establishing, that knee on belly. So he goes through a shoulder roll here, and he aims his tailbone at my armpit, he opens up his knees, and I go into a knee drop, or a drop knee position here. Once I'm in a drop knee position, I bring myself through into a position where I can start to pass his half guard. Once I'm in his half guard like this, I could potentially windshield wipe my legs and go back to a knee on belly. He goes back to the turtle. He goes through his recovery over his shoulder. I go through my knee drop. And now this time, he puts his frames on me, he puts his knee on me, and you might be able to see it, yeah. He puts his knee on me, so now there's no windshield wipe in this direction. I'm gonna go back and away, and I'm gonna keep his knee pinned to the ground here. I go around the corner, and I go to knee on belly on the opposite side. Now he goes through the turtle position again, and this time, when he goes through his shoulder roll here, we end up on the other side using our knee drop. Now I could potentially go back into his half guard, windshield wipe, or even do the bullfighter pass the second time here. But let's say that instead of using his knee shield in front here, he's interested more in pommeling his leg over like this. Okay, and if the bottom of his foot gets onto me like this is never good. So what we want to do is as he goes to pommel his leg, his foot will go higher than his knee. I'm going to circle my arm underneath here, and I'm going to go into a single under stack pass. I develop a thumb in lapel grip. I come up off my knees, and I bring his big toes over his head and my head over his head. Now from here, I split my stance wide, I get a hold of his lower back, and I push my body forward until I can get into a good pinning position. Okay? So we can start to combine knee drop positions with outside position so that we're able to get into a good guard pass. This is vexing me right now. I will tell you, dear viewer, I want this to work out. We are in landscape mode right now. This is uncommon for us. I'm completely washed out in my uniform, and it's a little bit more challenging than just the techniques I'm looking to teach you here. So please bear with us. I know it's hard to make heads or tails of what's going on. My gi looks incredibly clean. I don't know if you can tell, it's very sweet gi. Look at that shoulder, Patrick. That's amazing. Okay, let's look at this again. So we start off, I'm standing over my partner's center line here. I've got an extra low squat. I stand here on the center line. Now I sidestep, I guide his legs to the other side. I circle step, and I shoulder step. Okay, now let's say instead of turning away from me, Sean makes it early enough that he turns into me. Okay, so he starts turning his body to the side here like this. Okay, and maybe he's interested in trying to come up into a single leg or something like this. Okay, so now instead of it being a situation where I passed his guard decisively in one fell swoop, and instead of it being a decisive movement where he has to turtle, he's not only made it early into his defensive maneuvers, but he's made it early enough that he can actually start to turn in towards me. Okay? So when this sort of thing starts to happen, what we want to do is pin our partner's head so that we can put our knee over the top, so that my knee is going past his head. Then I take my elbow inside of his hip, and I turn the corner, and I end up going behind him. For the purposes of drilling, let's actually try to come this way. I'm going to take my hand to his bottom lapel for the crossbody grip, and I use my left elbow inside of his hip bone. For this drill, I'm going to back myself up and put my elbow down on the floor. This creates a pin. Then I come up to knee on belly again, and now this time Sean can turn towards me on the other side. I brace here against his head so that I can step my knee past his head. Then my elbow goes to his hip. I turn around the corner, and I go again into the crossbody grip. I use that by bringing my elbow down to the floor. Then I can come up into knee on belly, and we can continue our drill. Okay? So let's bring it in a little bit, and we'll come this way. Okay, so that's one of the guard passing scenarios that we've been covering over on the other application that I shall not name. We go from center line position on the outside, we make our way through the outside positioning using side-to-side movement to initiate a good guard pass. Then what happens is they start tying you up, so you've got to go into different ranges of guard pass. Okay? One of those might be a range where you use a stance here where I've dropped down to my knee, here, like this. Okay? Another one might be coming down to my two knees and forcing him into a butterfly guard situation. Another one might be a headquarters or split squat position, where I step over one of his legs, put it between my legs, and now my right leg and his right leg are tied up with each other. I've got an outside leg, he's got an outside leg, and from here you can do a lot of good guard passing. Okay? So let's look at using outside position, going through a knee drop, then adding the third stance we've been focusing on, which is the double kneeling position, where we put two knees on the floor and force our partner to play a butterfly guard. Okay? So the way this might work is I go up and I stand on the center line. Now I've been going to this side pretty regularly, so I'm going to do the first guard pass to the opposite side. So I stand on the center line, I guide his legs over to the side, and I circle step. From the circle step, I go to a shoulder step. Okay? From a position like this, Sean might start to turn away from me going to the turtle position. As he goes to turtle, he looks to get into a shoulder roll. He does his shoulder roll. I go through my knee drop. I bring my knee through, down to the floor here. Okay? Now from this position, Sean puts a frame on me. He puts a knee shield on me, and I'm not able to back up enough to fully pass his guard. What I would need to do, can I put your hands right here, is pin his knee and get out of contact with this foot here. But if he makes a strong hook here, it'll be very easy, just as our shoelaces, right here. If he just places his shoelaces like this, if I start running to the side, you can see he follows me very easily. Okay? So I don't want to go from a position like this, where his shoelaces on me and just start running to the side here. Instead, I'm going to back up in a straight line, and I pull his feet down, and I bring my two knees down to the floor. Okay? So it seems to him like I'm going to the outside position. I'm backing up. He puts his hook just like it is now, and it's going to be hard for me to go to the outside position and pass. So he might feel somewhat comfortable here. But instead of going around to the outside, I go back, and as I go back, I put his feet on the floor so that his feet are not on me, and I go to that double kneeling position. Okay? Now, if we land like this is very easy to pass. Okay? If he stays lying down like this, and I put his feet on the ground and his knees up, there's a million things, not a million, maybe 1,000 things you can do from this position to get ahead of him, okay? What's probably gonna happen is, because your partner is keeping a strong elbow-knee position the whole time, they're keeping their elbows and knees close together, when they sense you going to the side, it's easy for them to track you. When you go back, they'll probably be sitting up with you as you put their feet on the ground like this. Okay, this is fine. You can pass just fine from here. I have one grip on each one of his legs. I'm just gonna catch him on the way up with this good grip here, where I hold onto his jacket right by his armpit. What I wanna do is take a grip that lets me pull tension through his armpit here. Then I keep that pant grip that we like to use. I put my head over my own hand, and I go long stepping over to the side here. Once I'm in a position like this, I'm gonna use the long step to come up to knee on belly, and then you can see where we're going from here. He could turn away from me. He goes through his shoulder roll. I go through my knee drop, and then from here I might go passing his half guard. Maybe he puts frames on me, and I back up. Oh, I got past that foot. Awesome. I'm gonna go to the outside position, pin his knee to the ground, and then from here we're ready to go through any number of different guard passing positions. Okay? So I'll demonstrate this again, but the big idea, the big thing I want you to take away from what we're doing so far is that I'll have a good guard passing position to start with. I might start on the outside position where there's very little to no contact between us. Then, once I'm playing from that outside position, I try to pass his guard one time or another. Maybe I get the beat on him and he goes to turtle. He recovers from turtle and I go through the knee drop position. So I've gone through two stances now. Outside position and knee drop. From the knee drop position, I try to pass his guard a second time, a third time. Not happening for me. Maybe I go back to outside position. Maybe I recognize, all right, this guy has got a good spider guard, a good lasso guard, good de la hiva, and I'm having a lot of trouble from the knee drop. Maybe he's got a threatening close guard. So I go to a third stance. I go to a double knee down position, and I force him to play a butterfly guard. Now, it's hard for people to have very good guards for all of these stances so far. So if you're having trouble in the outside position, and you're having trouble from the drop knee position, try the double knee position. A lot of times you force someone to play a butterfly guard who wants to play spider, and they don't know up from down, left from right, and you're gonna be able to put a lot of pressure on them and pass, okay? So I'm gonna show a really reliable, conservative guard pass that you can do from the double knee position that we've covered before, but a good time for us to review it now. Okay, so we'll start in the double knee position, and then we'll move forward from there. So let's say I'm able to get to a double knee position in something like this. Okay, so I've got two knees on the floor. Sean has two butterfly hooks on me, and he's got his feet down on the floor. Again, the benefits of this position for me are that I'm very stable, and it's very hard to put me into a submission from here because I've got his legs pinned down to the ground. The downside is that he's got much more mobility because he came up off his shoulders. He's not lying down anymore, and therefore he can move much more easily. So I've got to be alert to a few things. I've got to be alert to him trying to hook sweep me. Okay? I've also got to be very alert to him trying to heist up on me. So the two big movements from Sean are movements that take me through a sweep using his hook here and taking me all the way over like this. That's no good. But I can't just back up from him. If he goes into a hook sweep here and I back up, he heists up like this, and now his head goes up high, and he can potentially bring me down and front headlock me. Okay? So those two movements, the hook sweep on one end and the front headlock, or the hip heist to front headlock on the other, can give us two sort of extremes of what we need to be careful of when we're in a double knee position. The hook sweep on the one side, and then a hip heist on the other that puts him in a position to front headlock me. Okay? The easiest way to deal with both of those is whenever you're in someone's butterfly guard here, you're looking to do two things. One is to kill their support leg or their heist leg, and I'll define that in a moment. The other one is to agitate their positioning so that their head is going behind their hips. Okay? When someone's head goes behind their hips in a butterfly guard, it's very hard for them to be effective here. Okay? So I'm going to be agitating his position, trying to get his head behind his hips, and at the same time, I'm going to kill his support leg. When I say kill his support leg, I mean I'm going to stop the hook sweep, and I'm going to stop the hip heist. The way we stop a hip heist is when he puts his hand to the floor to come up on top, I pull the leg inward so that he can't draw his leg back like he needs to do to have an effective heist. Okay? So I kill the hip heist. I also make it so his knee can't go to the ground for a hook sweep. If he can't put his knee to the floor, he could try all he wants. He's never going to hook sweep me from here. Okay? So I keep that knee up off the ground here. Now, a good way for us to work from this position, we've got one arm killing the heisting leg and the support leg. We take the hand that was agitating the head, and we get that head going behind the hip. Once I've got his head going behind his hip, I'm going to pommel my hand inside to an underhook. Once I've got this underhook, I take my right knee, and I put my right knee right up to his tailbone. Okay? So I brought my knee across and right up against the center line. I step my left leg out to the side, and I'm looking to get my knee over and around his knee. So I'm going to go from here, bringing my elbow down, my knee goes up and over the top, and I collapse everything back down. So now I've got one of his knees beat. He still has a butterfly hook on this side, and we're looking good to pass the guard from here. I keep the underhook. I take a second underhook, going elbow under elbow and finger crawling my way up. Once I've got this second underhook, I'm going to pommel my left foot so that now I have a butterfly hook, or essentially a butterfly hook against him. Now from this position, I'm going to bring my head so that I can turn him away from his own hook. I stand up and over his body, and I weave my knee inside of his knees. Okay, so my knee is right there between his. Now I separate his upper body from his lower body, and I bring my knee right there to the pocket of the hip. I go up to the mount position, and from here, we're looking pretty good to finish. Okay, so from the other side. So let's say we've made it into this double kneeling position here. Okay? What I want to do is stop him from heisting up. So over with my hand here, I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be pulling his knee off the ground just like I did before. Okay? I keep his knee off the floor, I bring his head behind his hip, and I pommel underneath for an underhook. Now I take my knee and I bring it to his tailbone here. Once my knee is at his tailbone, I step up and over his leg. I take a second underhook on the near side, and then from here I take a butterfly hook of my own. I use the butterfly hook to pin his leg so that I can stand up and over his body, and I bring my knee in and weave it between his knees. Then from here I separate his upper body from his lower body. I bring my knee to the pocket of his hip, and I stand up and over for the mount. And then from here, you've got all kinds of good ways to finish your attack. Okay? So this is a really good way to pass the butterfly guard when you come out of a double knee position, when your two knees are on the floor. Okay? So we've looked so far at 3 stances. Outside position. In outside position, you want to stop the person from grabbing a hold of your ankles, and you want to be controlling their ankles. The second position was a drop knee position, where we use one knee as a defensive shield, with the knee in front of the shoulders in order to stave off close guard, triangles, things like that. Then the drop knee position can come down to the floor, and we can start passing from there. The third stance was, instead of a drop knee, instead of an outside position, it's a double knee position. We put 2 knees on the ground, and we force the other person to play a butterfly guard. From that butterfly guard, we can push the head behind the hips, pommel inside for an underhook, and then we can start doing good guard passing from there. Okay, so that's 3 stances we've gone through so far. All of them are very, very useful. The 4th stance, one we haven't really covered yet, is the headquarters position or the split squat. And that sort of brings all of these stances together, and it's probably the one that you end up using the most against people your own size and your own skill. But I wanted to save that one and bite that one off at the end once we've covered sort of the preliminary stances: outside, drop knee, and double kneeling. Headquarters position is a lot easier to work with. The other thing worth knowing is headquarters position, just so we're on the same page, headquarters position here is when one way or another you make it into a position like this. Okay, I've got one leg out to the side, this is my support leg, and I've got one leg that's going in right here. This will be my trail leg. Okay, this position here where Sean's leg is between mine, my knee is going in between his, and he has a leg that's working its way onto me, doing different kinds of things here. This is the headquarters position. Okay, almost all of the guard passes that we've looked at so far can be done out of a headquarters position, whether it's going to the outside position here and finding an angle to go into variations of the bullfighter pass, whether it's going into things like a drop knee position from the headquarters, moving from there, or whether it's going from a headquarters position like this, backing out, forcing your partner into a butterfly guard, and then going around and passing from here. Okay? The headquarters position is nice because it lets you launch any of those guard passes from any of the other stances that we've done, all from one nice location. Hence why maybe it has the name headquarters instead of very isolated, specialized base on the moon that really can't do much for you, which wouldn't be really that practical of a name to coach to somebody. But the headquarters position really gives you a lot of varieties you can use with your guard pass, and it also is a great way to pick up on what the other person likes to do and what they're good at when they play guard. This is something you should keep in mind. When you go to pass someone's guard, in a competitive situation, it's unlikely that you will know all of the different intricacies of their guard and what they're good at and what they're not good at. We sort of take that for granted because we get used to training with the same people on a regular basis, and you sort of know, maybe just subconsciously, what their strengths are, what you need to avoid if you want to beat them, where you should put them if you have a lot more experience than them and you want to get a good round of training. How can you make it so that they have a good sense of what to do? When you're really going after somebody and you really want to pass their guard, you need to have positions that you can go to and launch your attacks from. These are the 4 main stances we've been looking at. The other thing that's happening there is while you're figuring out what guard passes to use, you're being sensitive to what kinds of guards and attacks do they want to launch at you. Okay, some people will just go for triangles and close guard and things like this. Other people, they want to do deli heave on you, and that's all they really want to do. If you take them out of that, they're a little bit lost and confused. Whatever it is, if you have a good stance that you know you're safe in, that's going to give you time to read what kind of attacks they're trying to develop on you. And then you can shut those down and then move forward and actually pass the guard. Okay? This is one of the reasons why you want to have these 4 stances in mind when you're going through your various guard passes. That way, let's say if I'm here with Sean and I'm in the outside position here. Okay, let's just take this one as an example. I'm in the outside position, and let's say Sean, as I approach him here, he stays on his back like this. That's going to tell me something about what he likes to do when he plays guard. It's going to tell me he wants to either put a lasso on me, put me in spider guard, maybe close guard, probably deli Eva, something like this. Okay? Now I can get a better sense of that when I start stepping on the center line and going out to the side here and bringing my circle step and shoulder step in. The way he responds to this is going to tell me a lot about what kind of guard he wants to play. If he circles his leg over the top and puts it on me and squares up, okay, now I know he wants to put me in a spider guard and things like this. If, on the other hand, I come in, I stand on the center line, I guide his legs and sidestep, I circle step, and now he turns towards me for a single leg, he's probably much more interested in seated guard, butterfly guard, shin-to-shin guards, and things like this. The single leg is an attack that just pairs with those other forms of guard. So with that in mind, I might go in, standing on the center line, guiding the legs, sidestepping, circle stepping, and then when he comes up for that single leg here, I'm going to keep his head down, step past it, and look to spin behind him so that that single leg ends up working against him here. Okay? As opposed to if he was more of a spider guard player, that might not be the opportunity that I'm looking for. Okay? So we'll pause it. We'll pause it there for now. Again, apologies for the I don't even know if there were connection issues that we were having. We were not able to continue streaming through Instagram, but thank you for tuning in on another platform on YouTube. Thank you for joining us. We'll figure out one way or another to make this work. Not exactly sure what the problem was, but we'll continue tomorrow at noon, and then again at 6:30. We'll pick up some of the threads that we left off with today in the evening, going over guard passing. And then in the noontime class, we'll go over some more of the terms and positions and some mobility drills so that we can all be on the same page with things like hand propping, elbow propping, and just some of the general terms and vocab that we should be familiar with so that we can make sure that we're being productive in our lessons. Okay? Thank you again for joining us. Thank you to Sean, and thank you to Emmy for all their great help. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.